Hi everyone and welcome back to the Creative Conversation. I can't believe we're on series 3 already, and I'm so excited that this series is with other business owners. I'm excited to interview women again in business. So we are starting with Suze from Bird Emmy, and she is a fellow marketer. She's originally from Cape Town and you moved to Aberdeen in 2003?
I did, yep.
She spent 2 decades working in marketing, so she's obviously got a lot to chat about on that subject. She's worked both agency side in-house as well, and then obviously now works for herself. In this episode, we want to talk about her journey, what it's really like building a marketing business, and the realities of working across a lot of different industries, and how you manage all that. So I think if you either want to work in marketing, you do work in marketing, or you're looking for more strategy advice or something for your business, then this is definitely a conversation that I hope you'll enjoy. So let's get started with some quick opener questions. So what did you want to be when you were younger, Suze?
I wanted to be a librarian or a dance teacher, or I wanted to write for Vogue.
Love that. Everyone, I think, at some point's always wanted like a magazine type. I think if you work in marketing, you've always at one point been like, yeah, I'd love to work for a magazine.
No, definitely. I mean, I'm born early 80s, so I grew up kind of late 80s, 90s, where the supermodel era was quite a thing. So yeah, Vogue was my hit list, and the library. Yeah, I was obsessed with the Dewey Decimal System.
Oh, that's so random, but I love that. Did you ever think you'd own your own business?
I didn't, no. I knew kind of from about mid-teens that some kind of writing, marketing type piece was going to be in the future, but I didn't kind of have entrepreneurship in my pipeline. No.
Yeah. It's funny how it ends up happening, even though you never would have thought that would have been.
I mean, I'd love to know if many people wake up and go, I'm going to do my own business one day. Or as their careers evolve, they start to go, hang on,
could do that.
There's a few bits and pieces I would like to try. So
I remember when I like kind of started doing this on the side, someone said, oh, you're going to join, like, start your own business. And I was like, oh, no, I can't be bothered chasing invoices.
There's always something, right? Oh, I don't have time, or, I just need a steady income, or what about my pension? And there's always something. And then you do it, and that's all okay.
Yeah. Your coffee order?
I am a latte girl. And my most exotic would be a dirty chai.
Oh, I've never had one of them.
Recommended.
Okay. Most used emoji on your Instagram?
It's the coffee emoji, or it's that smiley face blushy one.
Oh, yeah. That's cute. Okay, so let's start from the very start. What jobs have you had? Like, how did you get to where you are now? Yes.
Promoted myself. I have had digital account manager in agencies, account manager in agencies, marketing manager in-house, oil and gas, marketing executive, chamber of commerce. So I've been in the marketing industry for about 25 years now. So in-house, consultancy, agency over that period of time.
How did you find working in the oil and gas?
It was different. It's quite a tough industry to be a creative in.
Yeah, I thought the exact same.
Yeah, tough industry to be a creative, but I also quite enjoyed the marketing department kind of overlaps with HR internal comms piece of obviously where I was. So I think how that broadened my skill set was really good. And obviously you had the kind of internet and the intranet, so you definitely learnt more in oil and gas in terms of cross spectrum.
Yeah. I went from like a small business into oil and gas. I used to work for like one of the federation training companies, and I just really struggled going from like basically getting to do what I wanted marketing wise to like managers needing to approve it, the CEO approving it, the board having to approve it, like things like that. I was literally just for like putting a blog post out.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was
strong approval circus. I always kind of went the other way. So I was Chamber of Commerce marketing executive in the international business. So I worked with a lot of oil and gas companies.
Right, okay.
So that was, even though the Chamber isn't an agency, it kind of has an agency feel for multiple businesses. So I went from there in-house oil and gas. So was kind of in the industry, but by then I was early 20s. So as I kind of I got started getting older and more kind of into the industry, I was like, well, hang on, there must be more fun than this in my career.
Yeah, and it's quite like, I don't know if this is the right phrase, but like dog eat dog a little bit. Like, I was not used to that, whereas my husband's worked in it since he was 16, like got an apprenticeship, still works in the oil and gas, and he was like, yeah, that's just the way, like, he'd never worked for a really small business, so he didn't realise. So yeah, that was just my experience of it.
I mean, recommended for anyone in marketing. Definitely give it a go. Or no one does oil and gas, any kind of industry that isn't traditionally deemed as creative. It's definitely widens your CV and skill set.
Definitely. Where did the idea for your business come from?
That was probably more, I would say, market need. So at the time, kind of 10 years ago now, I was digital account manager, as I say, for an agency. My daughter had not long started school, and that role was made redundant.
Okay.
So at the time of that redundancy, I was also going through a separation, and I was doing some kind of volunteer work for a charity at the time. And so what are we now? That would have been, 10 years ago. So social, I would say, was probably about 12 to 13 years old in terms of people were using Twitter and that sort of stuff. But it was becoming more of a thing. So market need that put me into, right, how could I be that person that offered this to businesses?
Yeah. Did you jump, like, if you got paid off, well, like redundancy, did you just go full time into doing that?
I just went full time, yep. So it was an interesting time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I went full time. So cashed in some ISAs, and just picked up a client off the back of the volunteer work I was doing.
Right, okay.
And pretty much figured it out as I went. So put a budget together, put a kind of list of services together, and just started working, and then picked up 2 or 3 clients from word of mouth in the first year of the business. And it was probably into the second year where I was like, right, okay, let's try and put some boundaries in place, put some process in place. But it was all in from day one.
Yeah, because at the start you just feel like you need to bring anything in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a newish, it was a newish thing, having, I guess, a business that ran social media for people, or created strategy and things like that. So it was figuring out what did that involve, because social doesn't work linear now. So, just running social media, there's obviously, you need the website in place, you need books in place, you need content, all of this needs to be in place. So it was figuring out where my skills were best placed, how to generate income for the business. So yeah,
I can imagine it, because 2016 that was, because even when I think I graduated uni 2015, and social wasn't a huge thing for brands at the time.
No, I mean, it was still, email marketing was big. So we talk about email being big now, but I mean, everything's just circular in marketing, right? So, Twitter was still the big thing. It was Twitter at events, so you would have tellies up at events, and you'd have all these cool apps that could, your tweet would come up on the screen. Like, that was the highlight back then. So, and Facebook was obviously still a big thing. Social advertising hadn't really come in either. So it was just figuring out what businesses needed, what, actually generated something for them.
Yeah. With this podcast, I really want to focus on, like, the messy part. I always get asked, how did you take the jump to go self-employed? And I feel like that's the bit that people really want to know, but it's usually we just speak about the filtered end result. What was that like? Obviously you're a daughter depending on you.
I mean, she was 6 at the time, so there was a lot of just figuring it out, right? And I think there's something to be said about when you're just in a situation, and I kind of have this thing where it's like, what's the worst that could happen? So I break it down into what is the worst thing, right? And then I go, okay, there's quite a few layers before I get there, so let's just work your way through them. Let's just start experimenting and see what comes of that. A lot of late nights, a lot of daughter set up in the playroom, me on the MacBook, kind of piece, taking her along to client meetings and events, just kind of figuring it out. I mean, there's a bit of belief in what you're building, right?
There has to be.
That's fine. It's good. Look, this week has passed. Oh, this month has passed. Oh my God, we're 6 months in. Oh, somebody else has come in and wants to work with me. Okay. So, sometimes you just figure it out as you go. But
I always say, next week won't be as busy as this week. And then I'm like, Yeah.
That's going to be on my gravestone.
Still
Let me
is
just
busy.
get through this.
Yeah, I'll just need to work late a couple of nights this week just to like get through it.
I think there's a mindset piece in that as well, because I sometimes think, cool, I work at night, but I'll finish up in the afternoon. I get my daughter from school. I'd kind of then have that chunk of time from maybe 3 till 7:30 where I don't work, and then I'll start again. So even though it's like, oh god, you're working at the evening, well, I didn't work in the afternoon. So I'm the same. You kind of get to mould it to suit, which I think we take for granted.
I think as society, I really struggled with this when I first went self-employed, was like I had to be glued to that laptop 9 till 5 because you're just around it. That's a hard working day.
Yeah.
Whereas like I did quite a lot of work at the weekend there. So this morning I went and got my nails done and stuff like that. And then tonight I will do work because I'm doing this. So it's just kind of reworking your brain of what you're used to.
100% that. Because even, the nature of working in social media is, sometimes it is weekend work, sometimes it's nighttime work. I mean, if we just have a look at scheduling on Facebook, it tells you your audience is there at 7. We're at 9. So it's that shift meaning that's okay because I went to the gym, or I went for breakfast, or I took the morning off, and now but it's a rewiring piece.
So even I'm like 5 years in now, and I'm still sometimes get that guilt of like, oh, but you just need to push through it.
Just block out the white noise, because you get a lot of, you don't really work, do you?
Yes.
Are you going to get a real job?
I know. Especially because you did it with like a young child and stuff. I think sometimes that holds a lot of people back from going self-employed. So what do you wish people knew more? Like if someone's listening to this, considering that.
I think the interesting thing is I don't think you ever really know it's going to work out or be okay. So I think even when I was in the agency, you kind of have, if you get to kind of go back to that 10 years ago self, you go, you probably had it, you knew it was coming, you just didn't, it was like, going through separation, we can't do it now, or I need this, I can't do it. There's always, I can't do it now. And then I think sometimes life just decides for you that, no, it's now.
You're doing it.
There's something to be said for that. There's never really a right time. So you have to get very good at listening to yourself and kind of trusting your gut piece. So I would definitely say that you know more than you think you do, and you're actually more capable than you think you are.
100%.
And probably the other thing I wish I would have known / did was get on top of my numbers and tax and finances.
Yeah.
From day one, rather than, that feels like a tomorrow's problem. No, that's always today's problem.
All the time. Definitely. You need to know what's coming in and what's going out. And I think I've said this in one of the conversations we've had before, but I used to be like, if I just bring in this amount of money, then it won't be a problem. But it's not a problem, but you're always worrying about it. The numbers just change.
And you don't realise that, okay, you need to be putting into your pension, you need to be putting into your tax pot, you need to be accounting for holidays, for sick pay, for insurance. You don't know until you know, where I wish I'd maybe not wish, I don't kind of operate in a direct space, but if I was putting it out to anybody else, I would say
you need to think
get
of
cleared
that,
up on that faster.
Especially when you've got people like depending on you as well.
We kind of just go, it cost me this to do that. Well, no, it actually costs you a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff that it took me longer than I realised to figure that out.
That actually leads on pretty nicely to like business and mindset. So what do you think makes you a good businesswoman?
I think I am quite self-aware. I haven't always been. I think the older I get and the more I run the business myself, the more self-aware I become, and I think that does make you a good businesswoman. I also think I'm quite empathetic, which is a pretty useful skill to have in the marketing industry and working with other business owners. And I think, much like you said, maybe when we're off camera, the kind of fuck it attitude, let's just see what happens. And I think sometimes in marketing that's really needed, because we're dealing with people and we can't plan for everything. As we can create the most perfect campaign for the perfect target audience, and if something is an uncontrollable variable space,
it might not just land.
We don't know. So there's a little bit of the worst that could happen.
I think when you work in marketing as well, you've got to be patient. You don't always have the answers, and you've just got to be like, I'll work it out.
I'll work it out, and there's always that kind of, there's always an option, right? And I think that's probably something I bring to the table too, where it's like, okay, make a new plan.
Yeah, we'll work that out.
Yeah.
I think I've heard from clients that I'm good at bringing the sort of calm to their chaos. So like they'll just throw stuff and then I'm like, okay, so why don't we just do this out of that?
Yes. I know, I've had that before. You get someone told me I was really diplomatic, and I was like, I don't think I'm diplomatic. I think I'm just, nobody's wrong. There's always, there's always something. And I think particularly when you're working business to business, the business owner sat next to you and you're the one in charge of their marketing, there's always something that we can figure out.
Yeah, definitely. How do you deal with conflict and difficult days in business? I'm intrigued to hear what you say, because you said that you're such like an empath and stuff like that as well. I'm like that too, and that's how I really hate conflict and difficult days in business.
Yeah, I probably am maybe quite lucky. I don't get a lot of it. I communicate probably more than I need to, which I think helps that. I kind of
100%.
try and eliminate the manage expectation piece is really important, I think, and particularly because a lot of my client work will be remote. So, at the start of the week, I run Trello boards, there's Google Docs, there's all sorts of stuff, here's what's coming, here's what I'm doing, here's what I need to do that. So there's a lot of, communication to try and manage expectations, which does help. And then I kind of try and strip the emotion out of it. So like sometimes if I think of the early days, particularly around like chasing invoices and stuff, it was always this, oh, I'm so sorry to ask. And then I just got like, what am I sorry for? Your invoice is overdue. Please let me know when you can sort that, because it's like now 5 days late. And I just stripped out any, like I wasn't a dickhead about it, but just stripped out apologies, stripped out like, this is the fact.
Because they're running businesses too. And
and
didn't. Yeah, it's like I always say, you can't go into Tesco, go to the checkout and be like, I'll be back on Tuesday to pay for this.
I just need to get this.
Yeah.
So I try and, over communicate, manage expectations, and then just try and strip the kind of emotion out of it. And I approach everything from, most people are generally nice. So let's just talk about it and see where we go.
Definitely.
There have been times where, you've had to cut contracts or not work with people anymore or have that piece. Not fun, but running a business.
It is. You're running a business at the end of the day. Did you always have, like you mentioned, like systems, boundaries, things like that? Has that came from over time?
Yeah, that's definitely come from over time. You asked earlier about the messy middle bit. I mean, I think kind of as business owners, we're kind of always in a messy middle bit stage. I'm not sure we ever really reach.
It's just like, it's a new mess.
Messy.
Yeah.
A different stage of messy middle bit. So no, I didn't have a lot of systems and boundaries in place. And because there's a kind of urgency, scarcity piece when you first start working, particularly because I went all in the business from the start, there's a just take it all and figure it out kind of piece. And that eventually became very, there's zero life here. I think one of our first interactions on social was after I'd had my first holiday with my daughter. And that was probably about 4 years into the business.
Wow.
So it took a long time before I actually was like, right, actually, I can take some time off.
Yeah.
So no, systems and boundaries went in place at the start and they developed over time. And the more the business goes on and the more I get on in life, the more systems and boundaries I put in place.
Yeah. I think when you do have it in place, well, I've noticed that you attract more of the ideal projects that are suited to you.
And you start to kind of, we were talking about how we're both probably people pleasers and empaths, and that you don't kind of want to say, but the more I say, like, nobody gets mad about that actually, and it inspires others. So I've had clients who, at the front, I would say, look, I'll take communication via WhatsApp or email. I'll make a judgment call whether it's an emergency or not. So if you don't hear from me straight away, it's 1 to 3 day return, and if I can see the message is a right now thing, you'll get a right now piece. I don't take unsolicited phone calls. It's appointment only kind of piece. And I don't take meetings on a Friday. And I won't take meetings before 10. And they're like, all right. And then a few weeks later, they're like, oh my God, we've put this in place in our business. Like, and it's amazing how much I'm getting done. And I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially with our job, say you've got like 30 emails in your inbox and you feel like if you get through those 30 emails, you're being productive, when actually you're not.
You're just waiting for more answers.
Yeah. I'm like, schedule that so that they don't get a reply.
And then you go into WhatsApp and there's all those messages. Then you go Instagram and LinkedIn and there's all those DMs and you're in this kind of...
And then all you've done for the past 3 3 hours is respond to things when you've got like actual projects to be working on.
Exactly. And then the learning curve, I guess, also was meetings that I was packing every day meetings and then having to like working at night because I'm not like, so
You've not got
now I'll
laptop
have
time.
kind of, if I have a day where it's full on meetings, the next day no meetings whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's almost like meeting day, non-meeting day type piece.
Yeah. The meeting thing is something that I notice as well, and I'm like, it's something that you're constantly juggling.
Yeah, and it's always evolves, right? It's not set in stone. My weeks are definitely not set in stone, but just communicating those boundaries out loud puts kind of better practice in place. And that's to say, I've had clients go, we've taken those and we put them into our business now, and we've got so much more free time. Yeah. So the more you kind of test boundaries, if you like, the more you realize the positive impact it has on your business and your clients. So
this is quite good at leading on to the next question. Do you find it difficult to switch off?
Yes.
How do you manage that?
I don't know if I actually do manage it. I think what I get better at is kind of realizing what makes me kind of work or not work, which I guess ties into the self-awareness piece. And instead of giving myself a hard time, kind of figuring out different ways. So I do struggle to switch off, but I've kind of discovered if I bake, for example, I'm doing something, but I'm not working and I'm not on my phone, and I actually find it quite relaxing. So instead of this concept of, you need to switch off or do nothing, I'm not very good at doing nothing. So it's not a case of doing nothing, it's not working. So it's figuring out what helps you relax. And that's different for everybody. Because it's okay, stay off your phone. Well, actually, sometimes I quite like being on social. That's I live remotely from my family. I live remotely from some of my friends. Like this is, so it's less a case of you need to do this to relax, and more you need to do what helps you relax. And it's a tough one, because also I find maybe sometimes I'm good at my job because ideas come to me when I'm not working, and I can then go to a client and go, oh my God, I just thought of this. I think it'd be really cool. I'm going to put it into the Trello board for next week and we can flesh it out then. And that also makes me good at my job. So
it is. I totally agree with that. I think when you work in social, like you say, most of the time we're using social media for work, so we very rarely get to enjoy just scrolling for like the sake of scrolling to like consume something that might be fun or whatever. But I think it's not really switching off, because it is hard to do that when you own the business. I think it's more finding stuff, like you say, that make your personality not just about being a business owner.
100%. And that looks different for everybody. And sometimes I can sit and read a book and I absolutely love it. Sometimes I'm just a little too wired and reading doesn't work for me, so I'll go for a walk or I go to the gym, or so it's kind of less about, great, you need to do nothing now, and more, you need to do something else other than.
Because sometimes if your brain's still wired about work and you do read, you're not taking it in.
No, it just doesn't work for me. It's just finding something else, and also kind of recognizing you are the one who's running the business. Sometimes something will work at Saturday night, and rewritten my entire website. That's kind of my job and my decision. Do it when it comes.
I do.
So
I think as well, because there is a lot. It's funny. There's pressure to work hard, but there's also pressure to switch off. And I feel like sometimes. So, for example, over the festive period, those days in between Christmas and New Year, I was like, I don't know what to do.
Oh, I did a load of work. It was great.
But I was fighting in my head, like, no, I'm not doing work, because when it gets so stressful at work, you're like, why did I not just sit and do nothing? Like, so I was fighting with that in my head, and eventually I did look at my emails, because sometimes I think you need to just give in to the anxiety. Because doing an hour makes it better sometimes when you come
so
back.
Like I can be a total misery for my family, I can be cranky over, like, but I'm just in my head, where if I actually just removed myself for 30 minutes, did what was ever bugging me, it's great for the next 4 hours. So I think we seem to think we need to work here and then not work here and then that, and I don't think the marketing industry subscribes to that, and I don't think business owners, there isn't a one size fit all. And I think the more we can figure out what works for us, the better it is all round. And if we kind of stop this whole, well, I need to not be, well,
Who said?
I mean,
Yeah.
people relax in different ways. So
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we've talked about how you came about starting your business. Do you feel like you obviously have a passion for marketing and like helping business owners? How do you stop that becoming stressful with your job?
I think by nature, and my family might disagree, but I don't think I'm a very stressful person. I'm very, oh, let's just do it. I think I bring quite a chilled kind of, I think I do. They don't ask my family, but and I think that helps in my work, and I think that helps with client work. So yeah, I think it's about how you approach it. By nature, I just kind of, well, that's my list. Cool.
Yeah.
I know my strengths and weaknesses too. So even, we spoke about written answers to some of your questions. I knew if I scripted it, it would go horribly wrong, and I'd be really stressed about that. Where I knew if I just had a little steer and then made it up on the spot, it would be a lot better for me. So again, I guess that's self-awareness piece. Playing to strength and weakness.
We are quite similar because, well, my husband probably would disagree. He'd be like, no, you do know when you are stressed. But the girls on my team always say, I don't know when Danny's stressed. Because I'm just like, okay.
I definitely don't think a client or business in that environment. I think at home they would probably know. And I know within myself where like I could be like, feel like, okay, you need to run these, get yourself out of there.
Yeah. But I do think it is, you've just got to, I always say to the girls on the team as well, like, we're not heart surgeons, we're not brain surgeons. No one is literally going to die if we don't do this. So we need to just remember that as well.
And it's an interesting one because the concept is, deadlines or delivery or posting, but also, and even like we make a content plan, that every week that content plan gets shifted because it, there's nothing kind of, it's deadline driven, but also those deadlines are flexible.
Yeah, and things happen and clients are maybe busy and they're not able to provide what they need. And I just always say as well, like, within our business, we've done our bit. We just need to wait on them doing their bit, and then we'll sort of reevaluate.
Nobody else knows. The audience doesn't know. Like their audience don't. Like nobody knows what those deadlines are, except for sometimes even just you. So nobody knows it's not happened or it's not. So just shift it. Give yourself space.
Yeah.
But yeah, even like if I get inquiries through, I'll always say, I can give you a proposal within 5 to 7 days. Now they'll get it earlier, but I give myself quite a lot of breathing space.
Yeah, I think that is a good thing to do. What's one thing that you enjoy about business and one thing that drives you mad?
I think I probably enjoy quite a lot about the business, to be honest. I like the flexibility, and I like that no 2 days are ever really the same. And, I think you do this too, a Sunday night planning session. And, the trailer board is very lovely and it's very organised and everything's beautiful, and then Monday and that trailer board gets completely shifted. But I kind of like it. The one thing I wish I could change.
Well, one thing that drives you mad.
One thing that drives me mad. Okay. I think probably it's the conversations around, when somebody, and sometimes this can even be amongst fellow freelancers, if you like, where, oh, do you not think we should sometimes get a real job? No, I have a real job. Or the you work in social media. Oh gosh, okay, you must be really good at tech. How? They're not the same thing. Or, oh, do you just dance on TikTok? No, I don't think I've ever danced on TikTok.
Yeah, I hate when people don't really understand what it is that you do, and you're like, I don't even sometimes know how to explain it.
And I get it. But it's also like, this is not a new industry now. Like, we are not in the new world of social media. Like, why are we still having to work so hard? And why are we still assuming that any kind of creative marketing job isn't a real job?
I know. Because think of the amount of businesses that literally wouldn't function, a lot of them, without it or grow or
pretty much every single business should be marketing or some version of marketing which should encompass social media in today's world. So that's probably the one thing that does get me a little on my pedestal.
You have kind of touched on this, but if you were to start again, what would you do? Just, you said about knowing your numbers better.
Yeah, I'd probably get a little slicker with numbers if I went back to the start, and I'd probably explore some kind of admin support piece. I would say earlier than I have now, but to be honest, I don't work with one now. So yeah, I feel like I'm in that spot of, it's been me for quite a long time, and where I would collaborate with other expertise. I think getting slicker at managing the processes of the business earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that, like, as my business started to grow and, like, I got, like, started to employ and stuff like that, I very much, the systems were in my head. So when the girls were like, "So how do we do that?" I was like, that's one thing I did learn from the oil industry, and I am going to do it. I've just never had the time. There's a manual for everything.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, but it's so helpful. It's literally just step by step. So if someone says, how do you do that? There you go.
Yeah, no, I think so that's one thing. And even the fact that everything is MacBook or phone, everything's synced. I think on my digital, like that kind of legacy piece, like even I don't know, something happens to me. I don't know, just put my thumb on the MacBook and hope for the rest.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if I'm not responsive.
Yeah. My husband has
something
said
like
that to
like
me.
I need to be
Yeah. He's been like, what in all seriousness, what do I do if anything happens to you?
Just hold it up to
I'm
my
like,
face.
Yeah, or I was just phone Amy or Neve and they'll know who to talk to. What do you find the most challenging? I'm going to ask you two versions of this.
Okay.
Most challenging part of your job and the most challenging thing of working in marketing.
Whew. I think one of the most challenging parts of my job is I guess kind of keeping to the time frame of delivery. So
yeah,
you know, sometimes a project will be dictated by budget, time, or various other constraints that are out with your control. And knowing that if you could remove all that stuff, like that kind of wanting to that can be difficult. But I mean, none of us work with unlimited budgets. So, you know, it's a skill in itself. So that could be, and knowing more could be done or more could be, but you know, you're in a certain scope or you're on a certain deadline or you're in a, you know, so having to clip creative wings is never fun, but absolutely the nature of the job sometimes. And what was the other version, the most challenging?
Working in marketing.
I think it's the lack of kind of understanding knowledge in terms of what marketing is, what marketing encompasses, and how kind of broad scale that actually is, and the influence that has on a business. Your marketing should really be in every single department. It isn't a department, and it's not a case of, oh, social media is here and PR is here and the web team builds this, but nobody really, like, it's a thing. So I would say that's the most challenging piece of the industry is, you know.
Mine's, I would say, is people thinking that creating content is just marketing.
Or like your mates, and it's like, oh, I'm doing the visibility challenge, you know, I'm posting every day for the next 50 days. Okay, why?
What are you getting out of that? Why?
What's the point?
How are you finding the time?
Or, oh my god, I really I need to be more business with business. I'm going to start making videos. Why?
Do your audience want videos? Yeah.
I don't think business owners ask why enough.
Yeah. And I think if people feel like if they're focusing on social media, then they've ticked a box, whereas your website should be the most powerful part of your marketing, where it is.
We go in
everything
easy.
else should like trickle down. I agree. I wish people knew more about that, and I also wish people knew the amount of work that goes into the thing they see, whether that's a post or a blog post, a web page. Like, I think in the internet you just see so much of the finished product, not
I mean, even if you think there's the, you know, how the platform works, what creative resonates, you know, what the audience responds to, and even in that moment of when, you know, the physical posting, what's gone into create that, you know, is like just knowing what's even happening on that particular day, what's happening at that particular moment, and that shapes the copy. That it so much goes into that one thing, and that's behind the scenes is even more than that. The overall marketing holds that overall strategy, and I think if people knew that more, they'd be less afraid of marketing as well, because the misconception is it comes with a giant price tag because it's so big, where actually if you got the strategy, the target audience, the why piece, it would be a lot less big.
I think a lot of the time it seems confusing for business owners because they don't know exactly who they are and what they're actually offering. Like, I had client a while ago, they came to me and they were wanting to focus on like social media strategy, and when we did the one-to-one with them, I was like, no, we need to focus on who are you speaking to and what are you actually offering them before you even go into that. And I think people miss that part and then just start throwing stuff on social media
I have a business here, I'm on social, where and
then they wonder why they're not getting inquiries, because people don't know what you're doing, so how can they inquire? Like
all day long this conversation.
Do you have any wins or like success stories throughout your career as a freelancer, Suze, that keeps you going?
Yeah, I think they're all little wins, really, because I think the ones that I really like is particularly when you start working with a business and you're maybe 4 to 6 weeks in, so you've done the kind of strategy piece, you've done the audit piece, and you're dipping into the now content planning, and you've divvied out who's posting where and all the rest of it, because that's not always necessarily me. And then the business owner will call you in one of the meetings and go, oh my God, we've had some inquiries, like this is working. And I know it sounds funny because of course it's working, but also the excitement they kind of bring to that, like, oh my God, like,
no, I feel that.
Those.
Like it's working, because I think, again, with marketing, it's such an industry where everyone's like posting their highlighted reels, and I think it can be an industry where you doubt yourself, like.
Yeah, and there's so much involved, like for a business owner to create content or put themselves on video, or there's so much for them involved, so there's so much of what they're putting out there. And a lot of the times it's just complete crickets. Like there's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So for them to then start seeing and go, oh my God, like, yeah, that doesn't get old. I like that.
Yeah, and the crickets part, that's normal. Like, if anyone is watching or listening to this, please, like, that's normal.
A long-term sustainable strategy will have plenty of cricket days.
Yeah, like I've put lots of work into different stuff and been like, oh, 3 people have liked it or whatever, but we're never quiet as a business because there's a long-term.
Exactly, and I think that's the strategy piece that is so vital, because if you understand what you want from social, you will start to see that a post doesn't exist by itself. It's part of a massive ecosystem that contributes to your business growth. Those will be wins. I think the event side as well, for some kind of project work, I would do social-led events or conferences or things like that, which is running social for something that's happening in the moment. Side note, I don't think that gets a lot of attention from business owners, so up your game. But there's something really satisfying about that piece of work too, particularly I do some award ceremonies, we're running social, so when the work that goes into planning that and then running that for the event, making sure that as soon as kind of a winner's announced, it's on stories. And I've had a few people message me or get in touch afterwards going, I saw my mom won before she got back to the table and messaged me and stuff. And honestly, I'm so tearful.
Yeah, I love that.
Just like, yes, that is why social is powerful.
Oh yeah, 100%. We kind of have something similar. We do the social and paid ads for a local dance school, and every year they've got like their main show. One of us will always go to the show, so we're backstage and like we put up stories without giving too much of the show, but you see the parents and stuff like reacting to it, or maybe someone that couldn't make the show and there's noticed someone in the video and you're like, oh, like, it is
all the feels.
I'm just wanting to touch again on work-life balance. How do you manage running a business and being a mum?
Are you asking me or my daughter? My home might suggest I could improve, but communication. So if I try and talk about what I'm involved in. So if it's something that is timely or it's big, or I have this video call, what's about this sort of thing, or so I try and kind of probably overshare around that to let her into what's happening or not happening. And then try and manage my workload. So if it's not deadline driven or it's not a meeting in a particular time or something, then put it away and pick it up when she's got something else on. So it's, I'm going to use the word balance, but that doesn't require it is balanced. It's just making sure that my kind of busy days, like if she's away at the moment, so jam it with meetings. She's back tomorrow night. I'll take Wednesday off, spend it with her. So it's just looking at the calendar and figuring it out from there.
Do you think, how old is she?
She's 16.
Do you think she'll work in marketing or anything like that?
I mean, she is definitely talking about areas like that at the moment, product marketing and things like that. She has come along and worked with me at some events. So she's kind of taken the social media assistant, content assistant role.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so she did her first big one at the BWC Aberdeen Athena Awards in November. So I took her along as social media assistant for that.
That's such good experience for her.
Yeah, so she does bits and pieces like that. And then my plan this year is around her exams, of course, bringing her in on more kind of the content support side, just to kind of, I don't think it's a bad skill for anyone to learn, no matter what industry they go into, that just how they use social media in terms of their career or a thought leadership piece or anything like that.
Personal branding and stuff as well, 100%.
Yeah.
Did you feel the pressure, obviously, because she was 6 when you went freelance, of like picking up the slack when she was unwell or like the school holidays and stuff?
I've always just kind of worked my work around, so mum piece first and then juggle around. And I've always kind of communicated again quite heavily with clients that, this is a family-run business, even though, one of them is underage. And she would come along to meetings. I've had plenty of meetings and coffee days where, she, certainly when she's younger, not so much now, put up on the iPad and we would have our meetings, or she'd come along to events and, be assistant. And so, I've always just, or if there's something, sometimes something comes up and there needs to be a phone call in the evening and be like, no problem. But, I'm just cooking dinner. So I'm going to put you up on the MacBook and, you go on Zoom and just chat, but I am at home and, sometimes it needs to happen and it happens.
Yeah, and you just kind of manage it, don't you?
You just, it's just been very, I don't try and pretend it's a big team or it's a big production or it's a big, I can sort that, but I am at home now, or my daughter is here, or we're just doing this now, or, I'll pick it up in 30 minutes when I'm back. So
I think that's
I say it what it is.
Stressful when you're not saying what it is, because you're like having to keep up a pretense as such.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, whole different conversation, I guess, on that kind of freelance piece, that it's, part-time, or it's this, or, you need to pretend you're bigger to get work, and I've just always not. It's not hindered the business, that's for sure. And I think it's created better environments for my clients and for my home.
Yeah. When you get up in the morning on a work day, what do you most look forward to? Like just on a normal day?
I think it depends. Every day is quite different, to be honest. So it depends what I have in the plan. I prefer the days where they do start with a gym session. They're somehow feel more productive.
Yeah, you feel like you get such a boost.
I mean, I'm sure there's studies a lot smarter than me that'll explain why, but I like those days. I like meeting with clients and kind of community events. So those kind of days where you're you're gonna have conversations.
Yeah, it reminds you kind of like why you're doing it as such.
It's I work from home office, so you can get awfully stuck in your own kind of and then you forget that, actually I do feel quite energized around people.
Yeah, and you get inspiration and stuff.
Yeah, so no, every day is different. So what do I look up? Probably that first cup of coffee that my +1 guy brings me. That's a good start.
Okay, inspiration. Who have been your biggest influences in business and life, I guess, in general?
I was stunned by this question when I was reading it. Probably because I struggled. I struggled to. I've worked quite hard to kind of build a version of my business and my life that works for me. And I think I've become don't really look outwards because, and that's, a constant work in progress. But I think sometimes I found that I got very stuck in, I really like what they're building, and then align yourself, and then that doesn't fit. I need to do this course. So you go do a bunch of courses. No, that wasn't it. Yeah. And then I kind of made a conscious decision to actually, you've got this, just trust your gut and make your decisions for yourself. So I wouldn't say I do that from I know everything point of view, but more just it works better for me when I build something that works for me, my life, my family, etc.
So that is your inspiration,
so you borrow bits and pieces, right? But I just kind of found you would be in this okay, but that's different for them, or that, and then you would get sad and I was like, right, this is just a lot.
You've got to try carve out your own sort of
Yeah, and you can borrow from different bits,
Yeah.
right? And I think it goes back to that mindset piece where, we don't work 9 to 5 and that's okay. Where, you can be different versions of loads of stuff. You don't have to be one
100%.
thing.
Where do you see the business in 5 years?
Probably still in some kind of messy middle bit.
Yeah, but it'll be different.
Yeah, a different messy middle
Yeah.
bit. I see the business still here, so that is cool. I would see the project collaboration side in the next 5 years growing. So the first 10 years of the business, I put a lot of time and attention on retainer projects.
Yeah.
And I've now kind of shifted that to retainers are about maybe 70-75% of the business. And I'm kind of opening up that project side, collaboration side. What does that look like when you kind of take, if you like, the social media strategist piece that I bring and put that into a team, building out something around an event or around a campaign, or like, how does that collaboration piece look? So 5 years time, I see that growing.
Love that. What advice would you give to someone starting in marketing?
Don't be afraid to try, experiment. Don't get kind of lost in the, what's the ROI, or what were those metrics, or what were the numbers, or that
algorithm.
Yeah, I mean that can kill creativity, which can kill plenty of good campaign. But we also can get stuck in, no matter, data matters, insights matter. They are not the driving piece. So don't get kind of lost in, delivering to a something. Make sure that you experiment enough that you can build something through trying. Yeah, definitely.
Quick fire round. So try and just answer with what comes to your head.
Okay, go.
Dream collab.
Oh, my current obsession is what's it, the Vive makeup?
Oh, Jamie Jenny. Yeah, her marketing is very good.
Obsessed with their products, but be obsessed with their marketing.
Yeah.
And I love...
She's really built a community and stuff. Yeah.
Build a community, founder-led marketing campaign, and constantly evolving. Yeah. Which absolutely matters in terms of how they're running the business. So
yeah, and she's still very much like the face of it. Yeah. Even though it's how big it's getting.
She's building a community. It is a sad founder-led piece, but also not just monopolizing the whole. I'm very into what they're building at the moment.
Yeah, she's very cool. One word that sums up your brand journey so far.
Perfectly imperfect and probably consistent. Yeah. If I go back to even my Instagram,
10 years in the game, that's pretty good.
You would. There's definitely, you can go back to 10 years and it's not been a constant. There's what you see 10 years ago, what you see now. It's a little bit older, but you wouldn't struggle to recognize. Yeah.
Love that. And you kind of answered this to me off camera, but plan B job, do you have one?
No, I don't actually think I do. The more years go on, the more I realise how much I actually love the marketing industry. Yeah, I don't think I'll be anywhere else.
Good. No, that's a good answer. Okay, so we let the guests ask me a question or two.
I made notes.
Oh, okay. So what do you have for me?
Do I have to just pick one, or can I chuck out a few?
You can do a few.
All right, cool. What's something people often misunderstand about what you do?
Probably, we actually spoke about this on the vlog last week. I think people think that I just take pictures and put it on Instagram. They don't know that 9 times out of 10 it's not me that puts it on Instagram, it's scheduled. But also they don't understand the strategy behind why we do things. A lot of the time that's actually just a small fraction of my job. Yeah, that's probably the main thing.
Cool. What's one mistake you see a lot of small businesses making online?
Just focusing on Instagram and just now probably TikTok, because it's the new, well, not new, but it's easy to create content on it. So I feel like everyone just puts eggs in that basket. I feel like people jump on trends too much when it's probably not really relevant. They just feel like they need to do it. I think a lot of business owners have lost the aspect of storytelling, why people should shop with you, who you are. And I think we're actually doing a series just now on our social media about this, AI obviously is huge and it's got its place, but the only thing AI can't take over is you.
Can't be you,
It
yeah.
can't be you, it can't tell your business story, and it can't connect with your audience. And I do think a lot of business owners are starting to lose that and not really remembering that at the core of everything that they're doing. So like as an example for our clients, when it came to January and we were like planning for 2026, most clients, unless they had something in particular that we're promoting, I was like, right, let's go back to basics. Who are you? What's your business story and things like that? So that is something we're definitely putting a focus on.
Good. Right, last two.
Yeah.
What do you do to stay creative when your brain is fried?
I love colouring in. Love colouring in. Do you know what? I've not actually done it this year yet. Have I? Maybe at the start. Yeah, I do love colouring in. I love listening to true crime podcasts. I love a true crime documentary. It doesn't really make me feel creative, but it does help me like switch off. And this is a cheesy answer, but it does work. If I'm like, not the best is coming out of me right now, get up and leave.
Yeah. I don't think I kind of staring out the window at time.
Yeah.
I don't think we account for
go and
how
have a shower
much
or like
nothingness
a
we
lot of
need.
ideas come to me in the shower. I'm like, yeah, that's how we'll do it.
It's much more fun asking questions than answering, by the way. Great. We're going to manifest now. So who would you love to interview on this podcast?
Amy Smell from Odd Muse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Amy. Yeah, I think she's built a cool brand. Yeah, I'd love to interview her.
Good.
Yeah.
How did she have it?
Well, thank you so much for coming
You're
on.
welcome.
Sis.
Thank you for having me.
I will add all your like profile details in the description for the show. So if you feel like you want to connect with Sus, you can.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that was a really good chat. And I think because you work in marketing too, people will find it insightful, everything you said.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.